After watching the first season of Fruits Basket 2019, a lot of what I saw from excited manga readers at the time was that anime onlys wouldn't be prepared for what happens in later seasons. I kept hearing how seasons 2 and 3 were going to make season 1 look like an episode of Teletubbies, how it was supposed to be more intense, how it was supposed to get darker. Well, Fruits Basket is now finished, and while I don't have the full picture since the anime took some liberties, I'll say here and now, Fruits Basket does not get darker. Before I further explain my point, let's define what getting darker means in this context. When branding a series as dark, I don't think there's any universal definition. However, I think there are some common elements that people might acknowledge can be seen as dark, which would tread into adult topics. Now, when folks say Fruits Basket gets darker, you would expect it to ramp up these mature themes, but in my opinion, Fruits Basket has been dark from the get-go, and let me provide some examples to prove as much. From the very first episode of Fruits Basket, we have Toru Honda, a 15-year-old girl who lives in a tent by herself due to her mother tragically dying a couple of months prior to the start of the series. Toru also works a part-time job after school in order to eventually get her own apartment, partly because of her family not having enough room for her. Already, while the tone of the series doesn't convey how bad life is for Toru, just imagine yourself in her shoes. Your mother, who you cherish the most, has passed away before you even reach adulthood. Your family is unsupportive and pretty much makes you fend for yourself. You now have to live on your own in an unfamiliar forest with no access to a shower, any kitchen appliances, lights, all electricity. Plus, you had to deal with whatever Mother Nature throws at you with no protection, like typhoons for instance. I don't think that's something I could deal with at my current age, much less the age of 15. Let's go a step further with Hattori Soma. In his backstory, he meets a woman named Kana. Hattori and Kana end up dating, and partway, she discovers the Soma secret, seeing Hattori transform into a seahorse. This is significant because the Zodiacs collectively feel as if they are inhuman due to them being able to transform into animals. Therefore, finding a significant other who accepts that side of them is rare. Luckily for Hattori, Kana was that 1 in a million person. They fall in love with each other and seek the approval of the head of the Somas, Akito. Akito responds by attacking Kana and in her fury, damages Hattori's left eye, which almost blinds him. Akito then pins the blame on Kana, which she takes to heart and slowly but surely deteriorates right before Hattori's eyes or eye. Kana is then left in a state of suffering until Hattori decides to suppress her memories, hitting reset on their relationship entirely. Hattori found a lover a Zodiac could only dream of, only for them to be taken away from him, and even more cruelly, he had to do it himself. He even sees Kana occasionally in present time, which is a painful reminder of his love for her that she is unaware of. There's also Kyo's backstory, Hana's, Momiji's, and many other events that I didn't even mention. So if Fruits Basket was already dark and in my opinion didn't get much darker, why does that misconception exist? Here's what I believe. Number 1, season 1 of Fruits Basket does a good job of veiling just how dark the story really is. The overall tone of season 1 is a little more lighthearted than future seasons, which can make you forget or ignore some of the darker themes. Season 1 covers topics like suicide, alcoholism, abandonment, self-harm, self-loathing, depression, bullying, gang violence, a myriad of issues. However, Fruits Basket, especially in season 1, isn't dreary all the time. I think it has an equal amount, if not more, comedic and wholesome moments that act as a balance to the darker themes. I guess in some way, this dilutes the darkness of season 1 of Fruits Basket and allows it to appear all fun-loving when in actuality, it's quite heavy. In addition, what further perpetuates the misconception is the fact that most of the dark moments in season 1 happen in flashbacks. This does not mean that flashbacks are thrown away from the scale when we're weighing if season 1 measures up to later seasons in terms of how dark they are. What it means is that in this context, I feel that flashbacks have less of an impact than moments in the present. The issue with flashbacks in comparison to current events is that we already know the result of them. Knowing the consequence sort of detaches you from the experience, and I'll give you an example of what I mean. In the past, years after Momiji's mom gives birth to Momiji and finds out about the curse, she falls into a frantic state and she ends up almost killing herself. This moment in of itself is dark, but because we see Momiji's mother in present time, fine and dandy, it sort of takes some of the venom out of the moment. Let's go to season 3 when Akito stabs Kureno out of nowhere. This is another dark moment in the series, which has the luxury of Kureno's fate being left ambiguous for that moment. If you're watching that for the first time, it might leave a bigger impression on you because you're explicitly seeing it happen in real time, and there might be ramifications from that moment still unknown to you. To make it easier to think about, present moments have that element of surprise that can truly leave an imprint on us viewers. This doesn't make one moment darker than the other, but it can make you feel that way. It's kind of like the common criticism of One Piece, which is that nobody ever dies. Of course, this is an exaggeration. Characters have died in One Piece, but if you were to name flashback characters to make that point, people would look at you funny. The reason being, flashback character deaths don't even register in our minds when that criticism is brought up, simply because, like I've been saying, those type of moments are a little less meaningful. That, people, marks the end of this video and the end of Fruits Basket Week. First, I want to thank anybody who showed up to my previous videos. Even if this is your first video, I appreciate you all the same. Let me know in the comment section if you feel the same way on whether you think Fruits Basket got darker over the last 2 seasons that we've seen, or if you think it stayed consistent throughout. Again, it's something that I believe, but I don't think is clear cut to everybody. So I expect to see varying opinions, but just let me know that in the comment section, guys. But again, appreciate all of you. I am Satsuki the Savage. Like, comment, subscribe. I am out.
Tasting your soul, you're not in control, just giving you goals. Scared of your past, the future is close. The start is the end is a start. They both are the same, can't tell them apart. Nigga, that's cuz the intro is the outro.